F126 DLC is finally here, and I bring some bad news. Thanks to EA, I managed to get my hands on an early copy of the game, and I've been playing for the past week. And here's what I gotta tell you about it. With less than 2 weeks left to the release date, EA and Codemasters have just released the review trailer. And I have to wonder, why all the secrecy? Why all the radio silence? Last year, F125 was revealed more than 2 months before the actual release. In this video, I'm gonna touch on a lot of subjects, from the new regulations to how they're implemented in the game, the handling, the racing in general. Are there any setup changes? Is the game any good? What about the slipstream? Is it back? Unfortunately, I cannot show any gameplay video because it is still under embargo, but I will try to the best of my abilities to answer all of your burning questions, starting with the bad news. This game is very realistic as to how the new regulations are implemented. Boost mode, clipping, overtake, straight mode, you name it. It's all in there. And I know what you're thinking. Kai, isn't this a good thing? It's a one-to-one representation of the real-life regulations in the current Formula 1. Yes, usually that's a good thing, but not when your game is based on a set of regulations that everybody and their grandma is complaining about right now. So this means all the good is in the game, but everything that is hated is also in the game as well. Lifting and coasting is pretty much a must in race trim, and especially into heavy braking zone. If you want to have enough battery to burn down the next straight, you better make sure you lift off the throttle, because otherwise you're not going to start regenerating battery before you get to the corner. And driving flat out 100% of the time is actually punished by the game itself. Once you get the game on June 3rd, you'll see by yourself when you get into a race, the race engineer is actually going to tell you to lift and coast. Yes, you will receive explicit instructions to LeCo by the game itself. This is because lifting versus not lifting can mean a difference of 15 to 20% battery regenerated into a braking zone. And that 20% down the straight could mean the difference of 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. That's a lot. And if you're racing at Monza or Las Vegas, let's just say good luck. This is because battery empties super quickly, but it's a little weird. Going full throttle does not kick in the regeneration, but if you go half throttle mid-corner, you regenerate more energy. So in a sense, you're punished for driving faster through a corner. One good thing that I noticed is that every ERS mode is useful. Medium, hot lap, boost, and then overtake if you're within 1 second from the guy in front. There's no super clipping currently. There is some mild clipping, but it only kicks in once you reach a high enough of a top speed. So unless you combine it with LeCo, you're not going to have enough battery down the straights. How early you start regenerating from the clipping will depend on the ERS mode you use. When you use medium, you will reach a lesser top speed, but you will start regenerating earlier. If you use hot lap, you will accelerate faster, but you will also reach a higher top speed at the expense of more battery burn. If you use boost, it's going to empty your battery in about 2 to 3 seconds. So you cannot use boost a lot, only when you're attacking or defending, or maybe on the exit of long straights if you're leading. But I wouldn't stay in boost for a long time because, like I said, battery is very limited. And I can already tell you, using boost out of every corner is not feasible. You will run out of battery and you will never gain it back. This means in F126, the faster driver on track is not the one with the perfect racing line, the one that can brake the latest, or the one that can get the car rotated earlier. It's most likely the guy with the most amount of battery left. Can you see how this could be a big problem? F126 brings brand new cars, slimmer profile, smaller and more agile cars. But the overall impression that I got when I drove these cars is that they're more sluggish at slow speed. They're also a little bit more understeery in high speed corners. And most importantly, they're easier to lock up because you have less mechanical grip outright because the tires are slightly slimmer this year. But in my opinion, this is more fun because it creates a more dynamic driving experience that requires more adaptation on the fly. And I, for one, love a good challenge. And if you ask me, the handling kind of reminds me of 2023 at low speed and 2022 in terms of high speed understeer. Like I mentioned earlier, the tires are slimmer and the cars are a little bit more nervous, especially under high load or going over curb. So in my opinion, setups should see a lot of change this year as well. Gone are the lowest ride height because these are not ground effect cars anymore. And from my understanding, open differential might be making a comeback. different viable camber options, maybe different tow options as well. And honestly, I'm quite impressed with what I've been able to come up so far with a small DLC update. Racing AI is also surprisingly enjoyable. They are faster now, but they're also more aggressive. They will often go for dive bombs when you're lifting and coasting into corners. One corner that really caught me off guard is the long left at Las Vegas. They just keep getting me there. Not gonna lie, these 110 AI have been giving me the run for my money, but I think it's mostly because of me not having access to custom setups and not completely being used to the ERS deployment maps yet. Still, I feel like the AI might be cheating a little bit sometimes. Maybe remember in F123 or F124 when they used to have insane exits out of corners. It's kind of like that here, but it's also true to how the new F126 cars accelerate out of corners. But sometimes it just feels like they have infinite top speed and they never run out of battery, except on a few select pre-programmed occasions where you can then move on past. But again, the racing is very limited by the battery. But again, like I said, this is because it's a one-to-one recreation of the current regulations in Formula 1. You can have the best line into the corner in the world, but if you did not leco or regenerate enough battery and the other guy has more, he will not overtake. Now, I want to talk about the bad. Like I said, recreating the real-life regulations will also bring its problems. If going full throttle mid-corner is worse than lifting and you have to leco into every single corner to make sure you have more battery than the other guy, this is not a racing game anymore. It's a management game disguised as a Formula 1 game. Let me explain. The fastest driver will not be rewarded, only punished further. It was already like this in F125 due to the higher tire wear, but at least that was kind of realistic because pushing more requires more from your tires, right? But this year, it's way worse. If you have a 10% or 15% ERS deficit to the other guy next to you, you will for sure get overtaken down the straight because you will run out. Imagine this. So I've been stuck for a couple of laps behind Charles Leclerc. Every time I would get close, he would just inch ahead before the braking zone. And then on the lap that I'm finally close enough to him, get alongside, get the move done into the final corner. But guess what? On the exit of the last turn, he had more battery than me, so he overtook me back into turn 1. This game, I'm telling you. What does this mean for league racing? With the way the batteries are right now, I predict that qualifying will be even more robotic than it already was last year with the ERS deployment. And I'm mostly worried that in the race, everybody's starved for energy. Either nobody's gonna go for moves or it's gonna be fully chaotic from lap 1. Because if you think a bunch of hormonal teenagers in PSGL for 30 laps straight and do leco into every corner, then you are correct. Because if that's the correct way to play the game, you bet your ass esports sweats are going to min-max everything. And that is going to take the fun out of the battery system. And if you're that one guy who used the battery wrong into one corner, you will get swallowed up by the pack. They're probably going to retire from the session on that lap alone. And if that's not bad enough already, I predict a lot of DRS/overtake shenanigans because the overtake detection line is usually at the last corner of the racetrack. So expect a lot of brake checks over there. Still, I remain optimistic for this DLC. It's a new way to play the game. I do not have enough hours yet in the game to have a full grasp of the ERS system, though I have a much better understanding now of the real F1 regulations thanks to the game from Codemasters. And I think for the casual audience, this game is going to perform decently well because we're going to see a lot of overtakes even though they're a little artificial. But if you're somebody that hates the current yo-yo format of racing, then you might have a little bit less fun with F126. And voila! I hope that answered all of your questions. If you got more, make sure to leave them in the comments below. I always read all of your comments. I will have more videos coming up covering the F126 DLC, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and this is Formula Kai signing off. I'll see you very soon.